Hello, I'm Tony Giordano, a dietetic intern with Wellness Workdays and an employee of the Maryland Department of Environment. This is a brief presentation on food recycling, which is part of MDE's Environmental Sustainability Program. Let's first define food recycling and environmental sustainability. Food recycling is simply collecting food scraps for composting. Thus, food recycling is also known as food composting. Environmental sustainability is responsibly interacting with the planet to maintain natural resources to avoid jeopardizing the ability for future generations to meet their needs. There are several ways that food composting promotes environmental sustainability. Compost improves soil quality and increases crop yield. Compost is decaying organic matter, in this case food, that has been broken down to the point where it resembles rich, dark-colored dirt. Within that crumbly substance are nutrients like potassium, nitrogen, and zinc that plants can easily access and use to grow strong. Compost also contains beneficial bacteria that can fight off invaders intent on damaging plants and compounds that will improve soil quality. Improved soil quality and increased plant resilience result in greater crop yields, which can eliminate or reduce the need for synthetic fertilizers. Compost not only enriches the soil, helping fruits, vegetables, and flowers to grow better, but it also allows gardeners and farmers to use less water to grow their crops. This impact of composting on water conservation is another positive effect of composting on sustainability. Composting also reduces the need for landfill space as food waste comprises 14.5% of everything we throw away. Reducing landfill waste not only preserves landfill space, but also reduces the production of methane, a greenhouse gas emitted by decomposing food waste, which is 72 times more potent than CO2. While most landfills have technology to capture much of this methane, eliminating the gas at its source is even better. Composting also increases recycling rates, reducing the amount of waste that needs to be disposed of, which reduces CO2 emissions, another greenhouse gas. According to the EPA, in 2018, the food composting rate was 4.1%, which equated to 2.6 million tons of food. This saved almost 7 million metric tons of CO2 equivalent, which is comparable to the emissions that could be reduced by removing 1.5 million cars off the road in a year. So composting preserves land and reduces greenhouse gas emissions, both of which are sustainability initiatives. Now that we've heard about the many benefits of composting in promoting sustainability, let's now learn about MDE's composting program, which is one aspect of the agency's comprehensive sustainability plan. In 2010, MDE initiated a composting pilot project which collected over 4,000 pounds of food waste and coffee grounds from its break rooms, which were composted in containers and at community gardens to create rich organic matter for office plants and gardens. Following the success of this pilot, food waste, an estimated 5,850 pounds annually, is now collected twice a week from containers lined with biodegradable bags in all 8 of its break rooms and in the lobby conference rooms. The waste is then hauled away and composted by Veteran Compost. As previously mentioned, MDE collects composting in each of its 8 break rooms and 3 main lobby conference rooms. The compost receptacles are stainless steel with a foot pedal that operates a flip-top lid, making disposal a hands-free process. The receptacles are lined with biodegradable bags. The receptacles are also labeled to ensure only compostable items are being collected. Signage is also posted that details what is acceptable and not acceptable compost. Acceptable items are bread and pastries, dairy, fruits and vegetables, tea bags and coffee grounds, meat, poultry, seafood, including bones and shells, and paper towels, but only brown paper commercial type paper towels, not white paper towels such as Bounty. Unacceptable items are packaging, plastic bags, liquids, oil or liquid fat, glass, or tin. Janitorial collects the compost twice a week, replacing the used bag with a fresh one during each collection. From a facility standpoint, this is important to prevent unwanted odors and also for pest control purposes. A tight-fitting receptacle lid is also critical for pest control. It is the responsibility of MDE employees to maintain the cleanliness of the compost receptacle. After the compost is collected, janitorial places the compost into two larger collection bins located on the loading dock. The compost is then picked up once a week by a compost vendor contracted by MDE. But before the compost is picked up, the bins are weighed and the weight is recorded. Since its inception in 2010, MDE's composting program has had a significant impact on reducing carbon emissions. In 2019, MDE composted 6,658 pounds of waste. This amounted to a whopping annual greenhouse gas reduction of 2.15 million metric tons of CO2 equivalents. Since November of 2014, MDE has been contracting with Veteran Compost, a local compost company, for the weekly pickup of its collected food waste. Prior to 2014, MDE used a larger waste recycling contractor to handle its composting pickup. However, this vendor was much more expensive. Switching contractors saved MDE over $200 per month and thousands of dollars over the last 6 years. Upon weekly pickup of the compost, Veterans also supplies MDE with 2 clean waste collection bins. This is important when it comes to controlling residual odors from bins that can result from decomposing organic matter, especially in the summer. Controlling odors also helps with pest control. Veterans is owned and operated by a military veteran who employs several other vets to help him run operations. The company is located in Aberdeen, Maryland, which is about a 45-minute ride north of Baltimore, MDE's home office location. Now let's watch a brief video on Veterans Compost operation.
Our video tour of our compost facility in Aberdeen, Maryland. We're here at Veteran Compost. I'm Justin Garrity. I'm the founder and president of Veteran Compost. And what we're going to do today is take a couple minutes, take a walk through our facility so you can see how we make the compost. So here at the facility, we have 5 guys working on site each day and another 5 personnel out driving at this facility here in Aberdeen. So let's walk over here and let's see how the food scraps arrive and then where they go. So our model, for the most part, on collection is a 1-for-1 swap. So when we come to your location, we drop off clean bins and we pick up bins that have food waste in them. So the bins come back here where they're unloaded and then they're dumped out on a bed of carbon. So you can see all the wood chips here. We're going to dump it out on that carbon so that any of the moisture, any of the liquids will be absorbed. And everything here runs the gamut. So as Joe dumps out some of the bins, you'll notice there's a healthy mix of stuff in there. This bin is primarily food waste. And what we'll do is the liner gets removed and the bin will go and get washed so it can be used on the next stop. And then down the line, we can look at some of these other bins and what's in there. Different customers have different kinds of food waste. So here you see compostable bags. We handle any kind of certified compostable items, cups, plates, bags, etc. We do grocery waste, we do meat, dairy, bones, shells, anything that you can buy at the supermarket, we can compost it here. So what'll happen is this food waste on the bed of carbon will get more carbon on top of it, more wood chips, and it'll get mixed together into this pile like you see over here. So this is our kind of mixed up material. It's about 2-to-1 or 3-to-1 wood chips to food scraps. That gets us our right carbon and nitrogen ratio and our right moisture content. And then from here on the pad, it's it's going to go back to the compost pile. So this is an all-weather pad, concrete, so that we can take food waste in. Our busiest season is actually the winter, so all your holiday waste between November 1st, when everyone decides they hate pumpkins, all the way to the Super Bowl, we do all kinds of food waste and all kinds of holiday waste as well. So when it's cold, that's when we're making the hottest compost. So you can see the loader, they're taking this pre-mixed material and it goes back onto the pile. So we use a method, it's called aerated static pile method. It's actually called, we use positive aeration. So you'll notice the blue barrels hooked up to pipes, and what we're doing is we're forcing air into the pile. So this is the set it and forget it, the Ronco rotisserie method. Once we build the pile, we don't turn it. There's no windrow turner here. There's no loaders turning the piles. Once we build them, off they go. So that's why it's important to get the right mix there at the pad so that things go along well. So you'll notice like our target goal for temperatures is to be above 131 degrees Celsius for at least 72 hours. So this probe thermometer shows you we're parked right in the right spot for thermophilic composting. So you'll see the pipes here. All these pipes are hooked into blowers. The blowers are on timers. And so what we can do is we can look at our temperatures, we can look at our moisture content by digging into the pile with a post hole digger, and we can kind of make adjustments as needed to have the blower be on longer, have it come on shorter, more frequently, less frequently, depending on where we want to get at. So we want to be thermophilic for 131 degrees or 55 degrees if you're on the Celsius for at least 72 hours. We typically are there for several weeks, and what that does is that allows us to take in all those materials you wouldn't do in your backyard. So we do crabs all summer here in Maryland. Now we're getting into oysters, we're doing meat and all those things that you normally wouldn't do in your home. That's why we can do it here, because we have those nice temperatures that reduce any pathogens and break down any material. So let's follow down the line and kind of see what the active pile looks like. And as we go along, you'll see the pile gets covered with mulch vines. So we make sure that the pile insulated and that no pests can get into the pile. So we don't want flies, we don't want the neighborhood raccoon or anything hanging out there, no seagulls, nothing like that. So as our active pile grows, we'll continue to insert pipes into the pile, and the pile will continue to work its way backwards. So we use the same footprint throughout the year for our compost operation. So as we get back here, it's time to get the other compost out of the way. So as we're building our new pile, we're removing the old material to go up to be screened, and that frees up more real estate to continue to build our new pile. So this is one big slinky working its way back and forth each day. And we spend about 28 to 30 days ideally here in this active area before we go up the hill to be screened. So as you see, he's grabbing some material here, and we'll follow him up the hill to the screener. So up the hill here we have our screeners. So the way a trombone screen works, it's this big spinning drum. So you load the material in, the drum's set to a 1/2 inch, so anything that's a 1/2 inch or under is going to come out the other end as our product. Anything that's larger than a 1/2 inch is going to come out this end to be reused. So all those large wood chips, any rocks, any debris, that's where you might see your plastics and things like that we need to capture. So our guys will come in, they'll pick the trash out, and then they'll recycle that wood chip material back down to the pad we saw them unload in the bin. So all the material here will continue to be recycled through the process until the particles break down small enough to go through the screen. So let's go around the side, out of the way of the loader, and we'll watch him put a couple buckets in there, and we kind of watch the machine as it goes. So, like I said, we have the large pieces coming out here. You can see the wood chips and things like that. You see the drum with the brush on it. It's going to allow that stuff to pass through the screen and make sure the screen doesn't get gummed up. There's a hopper where we load the material in, and then all the nice fine material. So this is probably a very zen-like, live feed on YouTube of compost just streaming onto the pile and forming the cone. So this is all that nice fine material you'd want to buy at your house for gardening or for your farm. So you can see that the particles are a lot finer, and this doesn't look like the food waste we saw them dumping out a couple 100 feet away from here. So it's now turning into something that kind of looks like compost. But from this area, we're now going to go into the curing phase. And so if we turn around, we'll see all the different piles that are back here. We start at the top of the hill and we work our way down to the bottom of the hill. As we build a windrow, we'll then continue to flip it and move it all the way down the hill. So all these piles spend weeks or months here as we continue to flip them down. And each time we flip it, it helps to provide more oxygen, continue to mix the material, and allow it to cool down. So our goal is, the longer the compost sits, just like making wine, the better it gets. And so if we can let it rest, we can let the pH, the nutrients, the microbes, everything get to a happy point and kind of lead to a better compost. So as we go down the line, you'll see the piles, so eventually we get to the point where they are out for sale. So our bagging operation is much the way it's been for the last 10 years. We still bag by hand. Now, on the top of our capital plan for next year is a bagging machine to try to increase our efficiency and save everyone's back. And everything that you see here, we still bag by hand. So we typically have 4 quart bags and cubic foot bags. So this is our compost. When we bag it, we screen it a second time to make sure it has a good consistency. So appreciate everybody joining us for the tour today, and hope like you saw.
The cost of MDE's compost program is $2,400 a year, with $1,800 of that for compost pickup and $600 for bags. Although there is a cost associated with MDE's composting program, the savings in cost to the environment that composting provides far outweighs the cost of the program. I hope you enjoyed learning about MDE's composting program and how this practice promotes environmental sustainability. If you have any questions about this presentation or you would like to learn more about MDE's sustainability program, please feel free to contact me at tony.giordano@maryland.gov.